Hi, I'm from a local dog grooming salon. Today we have a first for our salon. We have a Bichon Frise in bubble trouble. When they are not well socialized or not used to being handled, Bichons can be very sensitive, and when they feel that they are in danger, they will scream. It is very high-pitched, and it carries across the room, and it can be very piercing. So before we start, we need to work on some desensitization to help this little guy overcome his fear of baths. Speaking of baths, it's bath time. Let's see what kind of shape he's in. Okay, I was told he had been bathed prior to coming here. You can tell because he has like a light film over his eyes, and he looks like he needs to shake it off. So we're going to get him all cleaned up. I bet once he gets dried, brushed out and looking nice, he'll be doing much better. Before we do anything else, let's take a look at his nails. They definitely need to be trimmed. I like to start with the back ones first, because those are always the ones that are overgrown, and then move my way to the front. Now I'm going to take a look at his ears. His ears are pretty dirty. He needs a good cleaning. He does have some redness to the skin. That could be either from irritation or an allergy. Allergies are very common in There are two types of allergies. There are food-based allergies, where the protein source is most commonly the culprit, and environmental allergies, where pollen and grasses and things like that are usually the problem. I personally do not believe in over-medicating these dogs. If you want your dog to live a long and happy life, keep them healthy, and if you don't want to use medications or topicals or things like that, diet is probably the best way to go. The most common food-based allergy is beef. So switching to something like a lamb and rice or a venison and rice might be the best option. The next thing I'm going to do is brush him out. Now this may be difficult because he esmated in a few spots, but I'm just going to try to get as much out as I can by hand. One thing I would recommend to all Bichon owners is to purchase a slicker brush and practice brushing your dog daily. If you do this, you will never have matted dog. Matting happens when the hair felt together and dirt and debris gets caught in between, and eventually it becomes painful for your dog. It pulls on their skin and it hurts. It also causes skin infections, hot spots, all sorts of things that nobody wants for their dog. So preventing mats is the best thing you can do for your dog. Now that I've brushed him out by hand as much as I can, I'm going to run the clippers over his body to remove the rest of the mats. As you can see, there were quite a few in there. This is how bad his coat was. I mean, it is floor and under. It was just completely matted. But we got most of them out. He does still have a few left, but nothing that's too crazy. All right, I think it's time to get him into the tub. But before we do, we need to get him a little bit more comfortable. We're going to work on his socialization a little bit. We're going to teach him that people are his friends. I am gonna teach him that other dogs are his friends. And I am also gonna work on desensitizing him to the sounds and sights around the salon. Sounds and sights are a huge thing when it comes to dogs and their anxiety level. Most people don't realize that dogs hear 4 times better than us. Also, they can see things much more vividly than we can. For instance, a plastic bag that may be crinkling or making noise to a dog that sounds like a huge monster or a threat. And if they are not socialized to it, they will become afraid. Anything that you find strange, your dog will find twice as strange. And that's why it is important to expose your dogs to many different sights and sounds while they are still young, so that they can become accustomed to them. Once they get older, it is much harder to break old habits, but not impossible. Okay, now we're going to work on getting him comfortable with me and my touch. Since he's a Bichon, he's going to be a little bit more sensitive than, say, a lab or a golden retriever. They're just born that way. They need to be treated a little bit more delicately. I like to start by giving them a little massage by hand. This helps relax the muscles. Then I like to give them a treat and praise them a lot. The more positive interaction he has with me, the more trust he will build. All right, I think he's ready for the tub. I'm gonna take him right over here. I'm gonna put him on the table. I'm gonna show you guys a trick. Watch this. Do you see how I have a leash attached to his collar? What I am gonna do is I am gonna take the leash and I am gonna attach it to the grooming loop. This is a great tip for anybody who has a dog that is very anxious or afraid of the grooming table. By having the leash attached to the loop, it prevents them from jumping off the table. So now I have full control of where he goes. Also, if he tries to jump off, I can just pull him back on the table. Now I'm going to wash his face. He's going to love this. Oh, he's already trying to get away. All right, that's enough. Let's get him rinsed off. Now that he's all wet, I'm going to put some shampoo in his hair. This is a detangling shampoo. It's going to help loosen up any of those remaining tangles and knots. I'm going to work it in from head to tail. Make sure to get a good lather going. The dirtier the dog, the longer you need to lather to break up the oils and dirt that have been compiling on their skin. When I rinse him off, I'm going to take a slicker brush and run it through his hair to see how much better it gets. All right, that's looking much better. We've got a lot of stuff out. I'm going to put some conditioner in, and then I'm going to rinse it out. As you can see, his hair is completely matted. I cannot get my fingers through it. I cannot even begin to brush it. The only thing I can do is cut it. So I'm going to get the clippers out. I'm going to give him a sanitary trim around the rear end. I'm going to clean up his paws. Now I'm going to take a comb and I'm going to comb out his entire body. Anywhere that I see a tangle or a mat, I'm going to cut it out. And as you can see, there were quite a few. But his hair is really starting to come out nicely. I'm going to go ahead and just clip the rest of it. This is going to be a puppy cut, just all around the body. And then I'm going to scissor out the rest of his hair. And that's the finished result. Look at that. That's a huge difference. Look at his eyes. How clear they are. Now, compared to when we first started, and look at how fluffy he is. And he looks so much happier. All right. Now we're going to blow him out and get him dried. Now that he's all dried and brushed out, he looks so much better. I took some of the hair that I cut off, and I am gonna fluff it up, and you can see just how matted it was. If this was your dog, would you be able to run your fingers through it? Probably not. But after being groomed, this dog is going to feel much better about himself. He's going to be much more confident. He's not going to be as scared. And overall, he's just going to be a much happier dog. All right, that's it for today. Until next time, be good to your dogs.